All right, this one's just going to go to YouTube. Like the rest of it is, but I had to clip out stuff because it's YouTube. So the rest of it's at Rumble if you want it. It's where it has to be. And yeah, I'm not sure where to even put it. So I'll throw it in there. It's probably going to be under ESOP because you're not going to get ESOP. So that's just how it goes until we can figure that out. So I just want to let you know that one will be over at Rumble because that's the only place it'll can go right now. So you guys take care. I love you. How do I know if it's working? It says waiting for stream. Wait. Did you put the wrong one in? All right, I'm going to hit. I don't know. How do you know? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. If I click that, am I going through? Wait. Is it doing it now? That's all. It says it's waiting. Look at that. I can hear myself. How do I know if it's not waiting? Can you hear me? That's pretty funny. Okay. So now I know that it's going through live. Okay, that took 46 years to get down. And I finally got it. And it might be going through. I've shut off that so I'm not even focused on the screen. If I look at like a screen and anything, like no one's going to be saying shit right now because no one knows about this or whatever. But in the future, if people are talking, it's really hard for me to stay focused on what I'm doing. You guys can use that to your advantage if you want. But I only look at the screen on occasion to make sure it's going right now, especially during these live videos. Like I think I put the name up there. Let me see. I can do that. Let's just check what I got going out. Yeah, today's the date. And I usually do readings. Nothing big, okay? I put it up there like 20 minutes maybe. And they're old esoteric, old occulted books. Things I like, just dense, ugly books. And yeah, and I usually chip away at them every day. And I share them with you guys. And so I figured today I would just start doing them live. Now I'm going to do them live. And then when I'm all done with the live thing, I'll still rip them apart and put them out the way I normally do. I mean, I hate editing. So what I'll end up doing is I'll record during the reading and I'll have my shit that I need. And then I can just go back and do what I normally do. Because if it adds any more work to me, I'm not going to do it. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I got enough shit to do in my life. I love doing this, but getting into the whole editing and all that kind of shit is the more than I already do. It just doesn't sit well with me. So you'll get what you get. Anyways, this won't be in the ripped out regular readings. This is just me bullshitting, and I like that. And it seems fun. This will probably progress into something else. I don't know what. That's the fun of all of this for me. It just keeps building. And I've just learned to kind of trust it and fight the fears and just go with it. And it's great, Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't change anything, whatever. But I'll just continue on. So like I said, this is the very first time I've ever done any shit like this. I've tried to put it to X, and that's like a monkey trying to fuck a football, dude. I'm not saying shit about it. I'm not gonna say shit about it. It's not the platform. It's me. It's just me, and I gotta figure out how to manipulate it a little better. So yeah, that's where I'm at today on the 15th of December in a cold garage. And you'll see me from time to time. I'm usually here. The readings take place here. Then I got like another battle station that I tinker around with at another location, and that's where I'm at. I spend most of my other times. That's out in the woods. It's a harder one to get a handle on. So with this one, though, I should be able to handle decent streaming and chats and other nonsense that could come up, and I'm willing to dip my toe in and see what happens. So I let it go. I'm just letting it record. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it'll go out. I'll check it all and probably shake my head and be like, what the fuck did I do? And I'll cuss. I'll try not to. I really, like, especially during the readings, I try to be very professional. It's the only time you get me professional is when I'm reading. And I can't even do that good. I don't do it good, okay? So if you're just tuning in, don't expect me to be some scholarly asshole, okay? That's not going to happen. I'm just a dude. I'm a carpenter. And I enjoy these books. I enjoy a lot of archaics research. That's just to give you a little background. Jay's a pretty interesting dude. I found him almost about the same time I started this journey. I've been pissing around with occultism and the fun stuff of life since probably 14 years old. And yeah, it's just weird how things fall into place. That's all. So it has nothing to do. I don't know Jay. I don't know anything. I don't even know. Probably a baby phoenix at best. Maybe like still like an infant phoenix. But by God, I got heart, so I keep going. And yeah. And I don't have any music set up. I don't do that yet. I got like something else in mind for that later. I mean, I think it works. I'm gonna try it just to see. You should be hearing that. I could take a sip of coffee. That's low as hell. Hold on. Everything in its time and place. So, the books at the screen, the name of this is 1215. That's the date. FB is the Founder's Bible. That's the first book. Second book, today, because there's 12 different books that I go through, is the Greek myths, in which I'm on chapter 73. Maybe I'll put the chapter in there too. And then the third one is Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Ishtok Bentov. And then there's etc. because I might do something else. I don't know. I do what I want. And I'm not going to tell you that every day. The names will be up there in the little designated abbreviations that I feel are appropriate, and you will have to figure it out because that's part of the fun. It's not fun for you. This is not your place. So, with that being said, now hold on. I took a sip of coffee. I explained myself a little bit. I don't like explaining myself. I'm not good at monologuing. That's not what I do. That's why I'm trying to set this up so all I have to do is hit the button, do my readings. If I got to vent about something, I fucking will, and then go about my day. So, yeah, but I can do it daily because I do this stuff daily, and I like it. And I'm wasting time. This whole reading shit is all about efficiency anyways. I mean, I don't know. I hate reading. Hated it. I really did. I've read, I started out reading shampoo bottles or whatever and never really progressed. But, God damn it, I like knowledge a little bit. And so I've tricked myself. And I found out that if I read out loud and I read to you guys, I like it. I don't know why. I don't care either. I'm not questioning it. I'm just doing it. And it unfolds into a whole mess of other stuff because I love to tinker. And, and that's how it'll go. So that's what you get. And to me, this is the most efficient way of reading for me because it's like pulling teeth for me, but on the off chance that you might get something from it, fuck, dude, it makes it all worth it. That's it. Yeah, so there's a couple people that like it, and this is for them. Anybody else can fuck off. I don't really care. If it's not your bag, it's not your bag. I'm not looking to be in anyone's club or group or anything like that. I'm just doing me. And I don't think there's enough people just doing themselves, and I'm trying to remedy that. So I'm going to take no, I'm not going to play the song. You're going to have to forgive me. I'm nervous. I'm down here in my garage which is great. I love it. I love being down in the dirt. Wife is upstairs. She's taking care of business up there. I'm sure if this goes long enough, I will be interrupted with a chicken or a dog or a cat or a problem or a kid or something like that. Okay? So it's just the way it goes. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm tired of worrying about shit. It's pointless to worry anymore. So too goddamn old. Too late in the game. That's kind of the fun about getting old. So you just, at a point, you kids will fucking get there and you'll be like, look, dude, I just don't give a shit anymore. And that'll save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and a lot of gray hair. So the last thing you want is gray hair. And yeah. So is that all I want to get out? I'm in no rush. I've got as much time as I need. I got everything going. Everything looks as it's going to look back there. That'll change. Everything will change. Okay? My face, that background, it all builds. And that's what I'm doing. I'm building. What am I building? Don't know yet. That's the fun. The fun is in the dance. That's it. Everyone wants to get right to the end. Fuck all. I want to be in it for a minute. At least I'm in something. Everyone else is trying to get somewhere. Yeah, I'll watch out for the cussing. I'll try not to say goddamn, Jesus Christ, but they come out. All right? It's the way I was raised. It's Chicago. I don't care. It's that you blame my grandmother, straight friggin' Catholic diehard, and you can blame the Lutheran in me, because that's in there too, who cares? I'm sure they're turning over in their graves with all the books that I'm going through, but maybe not. Maybe they're just laughing and being like, hey, that's what you get. So where was I? I'm gonna get my shit together here. All right, so I'm only going to explain myself. I want to try to only explain myself in this video. After this video, you'll have to figure it out on your own, because I'm not going to spend my days explaining who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and blah, blah, blah. That's all been documented. It goes back 3 years. You can go back to the first fucking video I did, and this is the progression from that goddamn day to this day. So that's it. It's very simple. It's just showing a pedigree, okay? You see and can see where I've been for the past 3 years, and it's been right in front of you. So, yeah, that is your understanding of me. Now, when it comes to me knowing you, I don't know shit. So you're going to have to level with me. And I don't trust a lot of people. I'm not I always give you 100% at the beginning, but we work from there. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I think that's my rant for the day. I think I got that done. And then, now, make sure it works. Nope, we're not there yet. Boom. Now we're going to get to Ezekiel, because I'm in Ezekiel 10. So now I'm going to read. Once that starts. All right, Ezekiel 10. Move that. Vision of God's glory departing from the temple. Then I looked, and behold, see, and now if I screw up, see, I can turn this off, though. Hold on. Okay, I'm still streaming. I'm going to delete that. I don't typically do that. I like to just go with it, but since I'm nervous, you're going to give me a break, okay? That's how that works. I don't want to fuck around. I don't like putting out. It's hard enough for me to put these out on a daily basis anyways, but I want to make sure I'm at least trying. So I heard a noise. When I heard a noise, it threw me off. All right, so I'll try it again. All right. Serious. Game face on. All right. Ezekiel 10. Vision of God's glory departing from the temple. Then I looked, and behold, in the expanse that was over the heads of the cherubim, something like a sapphire stone in appearance, resembling a throne, appeared above them. And he spoke to the man clothed in linen, and said, enter between the whirling wheels under the cherubim, and fill your hands with coals of fire from between the cherubim, and scatter them over the city. And he entered in my sight. Now the cherubim were standing on the right side of the temple when the man entered, and the cloud filled the inner court. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub to the threshold of the temple, and the temple was filled with the cloud, and the court was filled with the brightness of the glory of the Lord. Moreover, the sound of the wings of the cherubim was heard as far as the outer court, like the voice of God Almighty when he speaks. It came about when he commanded the man clothed in linen, saying, Take fire from between the whirling wheels, from between the cherubim. He entered and stood beside a wheel. Then the cherub stretched out his hand from between the cherubim to the fire which was between the cherubim, took some and put it into the hands of the one clothed in linen, who took it and went out. The cherubim appeared to have the form of man's hand under their wings. Then I looked, and behold, 4 wheels beside the cherubim, 1 wheel beside each cherub, and the appearance of the wheels was like the gleam of the Tarshish. As for their appearance, all 4 of them had the same likeness, as if one wheel were within another wheel. When they moved, they went in any of their 4 directions without turning as they went, but they followed in the direction which they faced without turning as they went. Their whole body, their backs, their hands, their wings, and their wheels were full of eyes all around them, the wheels belonging to all 4 of them. The wheels were called, in my hearing, the whirling wheels. And each one had 4 faces. The first face was the face of a cherub. The second face was the face of a man. The third face of a lion. And the fourth face of an eagle. Then the cherubim rose up. They are the living beings that I saw by the river Chebar. Now when the cherubim moved, the wheels would go beside them. Also, when the cherubim lifted up their wings to rise from the ground, the wheels would not turn from beside them. When the cherubim stood still, the wheels would stand still, and when they rose up, the wheels would rise with them, for the spirit of the living being was in them. Then the glory of the Lord departed from the threshold of the temple and stood over the cherubim. When the cherubim departed, they lifted their wings and rose up from the earth in my sight with the wheels beside them, and they stood still at the entrance of the east gate of the Lord's house, and the glory of the God of Israel hovered over them. These are the living beings that I saw beneath the God of Israel by the river Chebar, so I knew that they were cherubim. Each one had 4 faces, and each one 4 wings, and beneath their wings was the form of human hands. As for the likeness of their faces, they were the same faces whose appearance I had seen by the river Chebar. Each one went straight ahead. And that is how that goes. And then typically, on a typical day, I'm just going to go like this. Boom. And then I do Greek myths. And then I jump in, and we're starting with, Perseus or something on that one. But we're not there yet. So I'll go back here. Yeah, where was I? I'll stay on Founder's Bible. I'll stay on that one. There. And get this one ready. And I've been doing this now I made a promise. Not to anybody. But I promised to read a page a day. And I tried to read a page a day. And then I came up with this goofy idea that if I've got to read a page a day, I'm going to record it because it's the most efficient way. Because like I said, maybe you'll get something from it. So I'm almost done with the Old Testament. I never read the Old Testament before. I could care less. Yeah, it's old, it's lofty, it's whatever, outdated. And it's real good, though. Let me correct that. It's interesting. It's got its good points. It's an interesting book, though. I enjoy it. You will get me doing that book. That book gets done every day. And the background, like it's Ezekiel and it's a picture of my property back there. It's nothing. It's just raw land. It's nothing to write home about, but it's mine. And I tend to change it out with a picture every time I change a chapter. I'm 25 different chapters. It's in there somewhere. And I post that shit out. And that's what I do. And then it all started with that one. And I've already done the New Testament Moffat edition, but I think that was cheating. I think I'm going to still, once I finish the old, I'll probably have to do the New Testament through the Founders, so I don't think I'll stop that book. It's like routine, I enjoy it. And that one I'll do. Like, you might only get that book that day, but you will at least get that book. Try to do it every day. When I'm home, and I got an extra minute, I try to get them in for you. So let's move on to the next one. All right, let me get a sip of coffee. This one might be. I looked. This was like 4 pages, dude. This book fucking hurts. The names. It's a good book, but the names, dude. It's all in Greek. I don't speak Greek. I don't know Greek. Whatever. You guys don't give a shit. So I fight it. It's good. All right. So I'm gonna. All right. Chapter 73. I think it's that one. Perseus. Going. Abas, king of Argolis, the grandson of Danaus, was so renowned a warrior that after he died, rebels against the royal house could be put to flight merely by displaying his shield. He married Aglia, to whose twin sons Protus and Acrisius he bequeathed his kingdom, bidding them rule alternatively. The quarrel, which began in the womb, because more bitter than ever when Protus lay with Acrisius's daughter Danae, and barely escaped alive. Since Acrisius now refused to give up the throne at the end of his term, Protus fled to the court of Iobates, king of Lycia, whose daughter Theneboia or Antia he married. Returning presently at the head of a Lycian army to support his claims to the succession. A bloody battle was fought, but since neither side gained the advantage, Protus and Acrisius reluctantly agreed to divide the kingdom between them. Acrisius's share was to be Argos and its environs. Proteus's was to be Tiryns, the harem, now part of Mycenae, Media, and the coast of Argolis. B. 7 gigantic cyclops called Gasterocharis, because they earned their living as masons, accompanied Protus from Lycia, and fortified Tiryns with massive walls using blocks of stone so large that a mule team could not have stirred the last of them. C. Chrysius, who was married to Aganape, had no sons, but only this one daughter, Danae, whom Protus had seduced, and when he asked an oracle how to procure a male heir, was told, "You will have no sons, and your grandson must kill you." To forestall this fate, Acrisius imprisoned Danae in a dungeon with brazen doors guarded by savage dogs, but despite these precautions, Zeus came upon her in a shower of gold, and she bore him a son named Perseus. When Acrisius learned of Danae's condition, he would not believe that Zeus was the father and suspected his brother Protus of having renewed his intimacy with her, but, not daring to kill his own daughter, locked her and the infant Perseus in the wooden ark, which he cast into the sea. This ark was washed towards the island of Seriphos, where a fisherman named Dictys netted it, hauled it ashore, broke it open, and found both Danae and Perseus still alive. He took them at once to his brother, King Polydectes, who reared Perseus in his own house. D. Some years passed, and Perseus, grown to manhood, defended Danae against Polydectes, who, with his subjects' support, had tried to force marriage upon her. Polydectes then assembled his friends, and pretending that he was about to sue for the hand of Hippodamia, daughter of Pelops, asked them to contribute 1 horse apiece as his love gift. Seriphos is only a small island, he said, but I do not wish to cut a poor figure beside the wealthy suitors from the mainland. Will you be able to help me, noble Perseus? Alas, answered Perseus, I possess no horse nor any gold to buy one, but if you intend to marry Hippodamia and not my mother, I will contrive to win whatever gift you name. He added rashly, even the Gorgon Medusa's head, if need be. E. That would indeed please me more than any horse in the world, replied Polydectes at once. Now the Gorgon Medusa had serpents for hair, huge teeth, protruding tongue, and altogether so ugly a face that all who gazed at it were petrified with fright. F. Athene overheard the conversation at Seriphos, and being a sworn enemy of Medusa's, for whose frightful appearance she had herself been responsible, accompanied Perseus on his adventure. First she led him to the city of Dactyrion in Samos, where images of all the three Gorgons are displayed, thus enabling him to distinguish Medusa from her immortal sister Theno and Uriel. Then she warned him never to look at Medusa directly, but only at her reflection, and presented him with a brightly polished shield. G. Hermes also helped Perseus, giving him an adamantine sickle with which to cut off Medusa's head, but Perseus still needed a pair of winged sandals, a magic wallet to contain the decapitated head, and the dark helmet of invisibility which belonged to Hades. All these things were in the care of Stygian nymphs from whom Perseus had to fetch them, but their whereabouts were known only to the Gorgon sisters, the three swan-like Grey, who had a single eye and tooth among the three of them. Perseus accordingly sought out the Grey on their thrones at the foot of Mount Atlas. Creeping up behind them, he snatched the eye and tooth as they were being passed from one sister to another, and would not return either until he had been told where the Stygian nymphs lived. H. Perseus then collected the sandals, wallet, and helmet from the nymphs and flew westwards to the land of the Hyperboreans, where he found the Gorgons asleep among rain-worn shapes of men and wild beasts petrified by Medusa. He fixed his eyes on the reflections in the shield. Athene guided his hand, and he cut off Medusa's head with one stroke of a sickle, whereupon, to his surprise, the winged horse Pegasus and the warrior Chrysalor, grasping a golden falchion, sprang fully grown from her dead body. Perseus was unaware that these had been begotten on Medusa by Poseidon in one of Athene's temples, but decided not to antagonize them further. Hurriedly thrusting the head into his wallet, he took flight, and though Stheno and Uriel, awakened by their new nephews, rose to pursue him, the helmet made Perseus invisible, and he escaped safely southward. At sunset, Perseus alighted near the palace of the Titan Atlas, to whom, as a punishment for his inhospitality, he showed the Gorgon's head, and thus transformed him into a mountain, and on the following day turned eastward and flew across the Libyan desert, Hermes helping to carry the weighty head. But nope, I was thinking of something else, sorry. By the way, he dropped the Grey's eyes and tooth into Lake Triton, and some drops of Gorgon blood fell on the desert sand, where they bred a swarm of venomous serpents, one of which later killed Mopsus the Argonaut. J. This is a long chapter. There's usually footers after this. I will do the footers in the next reading. J. Perseus paused for refreshment at Chemmis in Egypt, where he is still worshipped, and then flew on. As he rounded the coast of Philistia to the north, he caught sight of a naked woman chained to the sea cliff, and instantly fell in love with her. This was Andromeda, daughter of Cephalus, the Ethiopian king of Joppa, and Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia had boasted that both she and her daughter were more beautiful than the Nereids, who complained of this insult to their protector Poseidon. Poseidon sent a flood and a female sea monster to devastate Philistia, and when Cephalus consulted the oracle of Ammon, he was told that his only hope of deliverance lay in sacrificing Andromeda to the monster. His subjects had therefore obliged him to chain her to a rock, naked except for certain jewels, and leave her to be devoured. K. As Perseus flew towards Andromeda, he saw Cephalus and Cassiopeia watching anxiously from the shore nearby, and alighted beside them for a hurried consultation. On condition that if he rescued her, she would be his wife and return to Greece with him. Perseus took to the air again, grasped his sickle, and diving murderously from above, beheaded the approaching monster, which was deceived by his shadow on the sea. He had drawn the Gorgon's head from the wallet lest the monster might look up, and now laid it face downwards on a bed of leaves and seaweed, which instantly turned to coral, while he cleansed his hands of blood, raised 3 altars, and sacrificed a calf and cow and a bull to Hermes, Athene, and Zeus respectively. Cephas and Cassiopeia grudgingly welcomed him as their son-in-law, and on Andromeda's insistence, the wedding took place at once, but the festivities were rudely interrupted when Agnar, King Belus' twin brother, entered at the head of an armed party, claiming Andromeda for himself. He was doubtless summoned by Cassiopeia, since she and Cephas at once broke faith with Perseus, pleading that the promise of Andromeda's hand had been forced from them by circumstances, and that Agnar's claim was the prior one. "Perseus must die," cried Cassiopeia fiercely. In the ensuing fight, Perseus struck down many of his opponents, but being greatly outnumbered, was forced to snatch the Gorgon's head from its bed of coral and turned the remaining 200 of them to stone. Poseidon set the images of Cepheus and Cassiopeia among the stars. The latter, as a punishment for her treachery, is tied in a market basket, which at some seasons of the year turns upside down so that she looks ridiculous. But Athene afterwards placed Andromeda's image in a more honorable constellation because she had insisted on marrying Perseus despite her parents' ill faith. The marks left by her chains are still pointed out on a cliff near Joppa. On the monster's petrified bones were exhibited in the city itself until Marcus Aemilius Scaurus had them taken to Rome during his aedileship. Perseus returned hurriedly to Seriphos, taking Andromeda with him, and found that Danae and Dictys, threatened by the violence of Polydectes, who of course never intended to marry Hippodamia, had taken refuge in a temple. He therefore went straight to the palace where Polydectes was banqueting with his companions and announced that he had brought the promised love gift. Greeted by a storm of insults, he displayed the Gorgon's head, averting his own gaze as he did so, and turned them all to stone. The circle of boulders is still shown in Seriphos. He then gave the head to Athene, who fixed it on her aegis, and Hermes returned the sandals, wallet, and helmet to the guardianship of the Stygian nymphs. Just keep going. After raising Dictys to the throne of Seriphos, Perseus set sail for Argos, accompanied by his mother, his wife, and a party of Cyclops. Acrisius, hearing of their approach, fled to Pelagesian Larissa, but Perseus happened to be invited there for the funeral games which King Teutamides was holding in honor of his dead father, and competed in the fivefold contest. When it came to the discus throw, his discus, carried out of its path by the wind and the will of the gods, struck Acrisius' foot and killed him. Greatly grieved, Perseus buried his grandfather in the temple of Athene, which crowns the local Acropolis, and then, being ashamed to reign in Argos, went to Tiryns, where Proteus had been succeeded by his son Megapenthus, and arranged to exchange kingdoms with him. So Megapenthus moved to Argos, while Perseus reigned in Tiryns, and presently won back the other 2 parts of Proteus's original kingdom. Perseus fortified Mydia and founded Mycenae, so called because when he was thirsty, a mushroom, Mycos, sprang up and provided him with a stream of water. The Cyclops built the walls of both cities. Others give a very different account of the matter. They say that Polydectes succeeded in marrying Danae and reared Perseus in the temple of Athene. Some years later, Acrisius heard of their survival and sailed to Seriphos, resolving this time to kill Perseus with his own hand. Polydectes intervened and made each of them solemnly swear never to attempt the other's life. However, A storm arose, and while Acrisius' ship was still hauled up on the beach, weather-bound, Polydectes died. During his funeral games, Perseus threw a discus which accidentally struck Acrisius on the head and killed him. Perseus then sailed to Argos and claimed the throne, but found that Proteus had usurped it, and therefore turned him into stone. Thus he now reigned over the whole of Argolis until Megapanthus avenged his father's death by murdering him. T. As for the Gorgon Medusa, they say that she was a beautiful daughter of Phorcys, who had offended Athene and led the Libyans of Lake Tritonis in battle. Perseus, coming from Argos with an army, was helped by Athene to assassinate Medusa. He cut off her head by night and buried it under a mound of earth in the marketplace at Argos. This mound lies closely to the grave of Perseus' daughter, Gorgophone, notorious as the first widow to ever to remarry. And that's how that goes. God bless, that was a long chapter. Dude, that's the longest chapter I think I've ever done yet of the Greek myths. I went to R or S or something. So, that's done. Now, I just got to check some shit here. Give me a second. Let me make sure that everything is working. It doesn't look bad there. If I click that, what happens? That was a long chapter. Dude, that's the longest chapter. Yeah, okay. So, it's still working. Everything looks like it's going. All right. That's all I wanted to go. Back over here so I'm not distracted, and we're good to go. Okay? So, take a sip of coffee. Because although this is going live, the most important thing is the reading, in my eyes. So, I can take a break if I want. I could go take a piss if I needed to, okay, during this time. But I'm not gonna, because I don't need to. So I just do what I normally need to do here. I'm going to do one more reading. I'm going to do, Stalking the Wild Pendulum. I'm on chapter 10. Sometimes I get through the whole chapter. This is the last chapter. So it might, wait, I think it's the last chapter. But then it goes into Physio-Kundalini syndrome, which is fine. We'll probably read that too. And I don't think I'll read all of chapter 10. My fingers are frozen. I'm going to go there. Cool. Anyways, where was I? Boom. All right, chapter 10. Some reflections on the Creator. In chapter 2, we looked at matter with a big microscope. The more we looked, the more we enlarged, and the less we found. We ended up with a void permeated by pulsating energy fields. Even the most solid matter, the one that imparts most of the mass to it, the nucleus of the atom, which at first appeared as a solid grain of matter, upon a better look dissolved into a vortex of pulsating fields. Thus, we found a void to be the common denominator of all matter, its ground substance, so to speak. We human beings consider ourselves to be made up of solid matter. However, by now we know that we are just an interference pattern of waves that is changing with time. Or in other words, we are a four-dimensional hologram. The base for the hologram is the void that permeates and connects all creation. We have heard of this void before. That is how we have described the absolute. As we look at the pulsating energy fields, we ask ourselves what would happen if we should slow down the pulsation of the energy fields or stop their pulsations altogether. The answer is that we would get back our void or the absolute. It is as though the wind that has raised the ripples over the face of the sea of the absolute has stopped blowing. Calm has set in, and the face of the sea is smooth again. There is no motion, therefore, no time, and no matter. The absolute is there, undisturbed. Remember that this absolute is pure consciousness combined with intelligence, as mentioned in chapter 5. We can see now that in order to reestablish manifest creation, we have to be able to somehow to rattle or vibrate the surface of the absolute. This is no simple task, and we would not even know how to begin. But that is, of course, what creators are for. You may recall that the ripples on the surface of the sea of the absolute in the fine relative, figure 33a, are so small and of such a high frequency as to become invisible. The absolute is both in a state of rest and at the same time an enormous potential energy. Similarly, we have seen how infinite velocity has become a state of rest, how the birth of matter occurs simultaneously and in the same place as its death. Creation and destruction are simultaneous. Degeneration carries renewal in its core. We know that the end of time is its beginning. In short, we find that there is a level in nature at which all extremes become reconciled and merged. It is on this level that black and white, good and evil, merge into one isness. This is also where the ultimate truth lies. The truth is not black or white, it is both. The pairs of opposites of the lower levels merge on the highest level. We tend to view nature through a tiny slot from a narrow angle. Others see it from another angle and describe it in a different language. It sounds different, but it's not. The universe is so rich in diversity that almost anything one says about it is correct, provided one takes a broad enough view. We have tried our hand before at designing nature spirits. Let us see now whether we can follow the actions of the creator of the universe. We shall try to peek over his shoulder while he works. The scenario would run something like this. In the tremendous, boundless, infinite dark void, something stirs. A very great volume of the void has decided to move and is defining its boundaries. This enormous consciousness intelligence is separating itself from the continuum so that it can start acting. It has thus become an individualized entity. It contains tremendous amounts of energy because the state of the absolute is a state of highest potential energy. It is a state of rest of the pendulum. Now the creator has to settle down and start to draw up plans of what to do within his real estate, which is his body. He sits back in his cosmic armchair and contemplates. He realizes that unless he can produce a consciousness equal to himself in all qualities, he may never know what he himself is all about. So he sets out to decide on the rules of the game, that is, the laws of nature as we know them. He invents the laws of evolution. Evolution will refine consciousness to a point at which it will resemble him in all attributes. He will start with matter of low consciousness, make it more and more complex, and watch the emergence of the first intelligence that can contemplate itself. This would mirror one of his basic attributes and would be quite a milestone in his development. Let us not forget that all these processes are occurring inside him in his subjective time. He will have to invent the most diverse creatures, the most diverse situations, and the most diverse events, then have his creatures go through all these possible situations and interact in all the possible ways. When all his different being will have gone through all the possible situations and interacted in all the possible ways, then he will know what he is capable of. He will then know himself. He uses the duality of good and evil as a catalyst to speed up the interactions. Good stands for the knowledge of his laws and evil for the ignorance of his ultimate laws. In other words, that which is in harmony with his laws and helps the process of evolution is good, and that which slows it down is evil. However, he manages to utilize both in the interest of evolution. Their constant interaction speeds up the very process of evolution. For the more evolved creatures, free will is built into the system so that they can eventually become co-creators. While the more simple creatures go through a present event matrix, the more evolved ones can choose from a number of possible paths. But once chosen, each path has its end result predetermined so that it fits in with the general event matrix while still allowing for much variety. An event matrix can be visualized as field patterns of diverse shapes within space-time. They are embedded within the space-time in a certain sequence that best fits the evolution of consciousness. These fields either stimulate, balance, or depress certain tendencies within our psyches. When it so happens that on its way through the expanding jet, the Earth crosses a stress-producing event matrix, the result will be that certain segments of mankind, the ones most susceptible to it at the moment, will be agitated, resulting in a possible war. If the event matrix happens to be one that will produce a calming effect, then a period of peace will result. If the event matrix of war has an elongated sausage shape, figure 50, then as our planet crosses it the first time, we may have a war fought with clubs, while the next time around it may be fought with muskets, and the third time around bombs may be used. The event is the same, only technology has changed. The causes behind the war event are always the same: greed for more wealth and territory, hatred, intolerance, etc. The event sausage will have the stimulating frequencies to evoke these emotions, and as they stimulate our endocrine system, these events will tend to occur. Remember how the full moon causes the emotionally unbalanced people to commit crimes. This is a similar effect, only on a grand scale. A long event sausage may be the cause behind the saying, history repeats itself. At the beginning, the creator watches with aloof amusement as his creatures go through the events like a flow of animated matter. However, somewhere down the path of evolution, consciousnesses will arise that will draw his attention. These will be creatures who not only contemplate themselves but start contemplating him. When a creature has reached a level of development at which he understands his real makeup and perceives that thou art that, then he becomes self-realized. The whole scheme of creation becomes transparent to him, and henceforth he will watch himself act within the scheme, but at the same time remain separate from his actions. This is analogous to the way the creator operates, acting but at the same time remaining separate and uninvolved in the action. When a creature gains this attribute of the creator, he will appreciate it. He will set aside such a unit of consciousness and say to him, here, do this. It may be just doing little chores at first, but sooner or later such a unit of consciousness will start guiding the evolution of other consciousnesses. That is, the being becomes a co-creator and eventually a minor god. As time goes by, more consciousnesses reach higher levels, angels, humans, or non-humans, but the goal is not accomplished until out of his myriad creatures emerges a consciousness that can become him, his double. Once he has duplicated himself, he knows himself, and he has succeeded in evolving his consciousness. That is as great as he himself. And so he closes down his shop, absorbing into himself all his manifest creation, and returns into the void. Until now, we have been trying to second-guess the thoughts of the Creator and planning and organizing the universe in his subjective space-time. We have to emphasize that the events described until now did not yet take place in objective space-time. In other words, they were only his thoughts and were not yet manifest. You may remember from Chapter 4 that the highest level of consciousness occurs when the angle equals 90 degrees. That is, when the subjective time overlaps the objective space. This means that the subjective time is infinitely long, and a consciousness in that state fills all space or is omnipresent. In Chapter 9, we know that in this state of consciousness is also omniscience. From Chapter 9, we know that in this state, the consciousness is also omniscient. That is the angle or state at which the Creator is and thinks his universe. As we said before, once he has decided to move, he begins by defining his boundaries. His real estate, so to speak, he does this by means of light. A sheath of light appears and outlines his body. This is not a light as we know it, but of a level of energy peculiar to him. It acts as a container for what we know as our manifest space-time. His body is very likely an ovoid that resembles an egg or a seed, and its size would be naturally the size of the universe. All the above happenings are occurring in the subjective space and subjective time of the Creator, since he is that being having the highest possible level of consciousness. His subjective time is therefore stretched out very much. In fact, he has an infinite amount of time to accomplish all that we are talking about. But to us simple mortals who would be watching the action somehow from a distance, all this would occur suddenly because we spend most of our conscious time in objective time-space. Therefore, while the Creator can take his time to contemplate, design, and construct his universe at leisure, to us it would appear in a big bang. Suddenly the whole thing would just be there, and in order to find out objectively what is there, we have to start exploring his creation in our slowpoke way, bit by bit, and get ourselves entangled in the familiar space-time or time-like universe in which things happen in a more or less ordered sequence. Let us return now and watch the Creator do his thing in his subjective space-time. We have watched him outline his real estate, which was enveloped in a sheath of light. Within this shell, his energy is at first diffuse. Next, his energy starts to polarize. There is a spatial separation. Spatial? It's not spatial, it's spatial. Separation of positive and negative energy, figure 51. This energy we shall call protomatter, or the precursor of our matter. We now have positive and negative protomatter. Let us say that the positive energy has accumulated at the tip of the ovoid, the negative one at the bottom of it. A differential in energy or potential has thus arisen along the axis of the ovoid. In this way, the relative aspect of the absolute is born. This is now a difference between the outside and the inside of the shell of light, and a difference in energy between the two ends of the ovoid. A duality has arisen where there was none before. So I want to just finish it. I'm just going to finish it. The aha moment. In the meantime, more and more energy is being built up at the poles of the ovoid. Ovoid. I'm going to call it an ovoid. Ovoid sounds stupid. Ovoid is trembling from the great accumulation of potential energy, and then suddenly, zap, a great spark flashes like a bolt of lightning across the void within the shell of light. A great thunderclap follows the first sound, and the first act of fertilization has taken place, figure 52a. The impact of this discharge sets in motion the reservoir of negative protomatter, which rises in a great column as it is drawn to the opposite pole, figure 52b. It spreads out at the tip of the ovoid shell and runs down, hugging its walls back to the bottom of the shell, figure 52c. It continues to flow in the central column up to about half the height of the ovoid. Here, its energy exhausted, the column drops back into the negative energy pool at the bottom of the ovoid, except for one drop of matter that separates from the column and remains floating, balanced between the two poles, 52d. The flow of protomatter has prepared, or we may say, seeded the protospace for the appearance of the kind of physical matter we know. The flow of protomatter has outlined the volume to which our time-space will be confined. The sound of the great thunderclap is still reverberating within the shell. This is the aha moment of the Creator. He has contemplated and thought for a long time, and now finally and suddenly he has seen the whole design in all its complicated detail, and in one great flash of creative insight he made the potential forms of the whole creation appear. This great sound, which contains all the possible frequencies, continuously reverberates within the shell, creating an infinite number of interference patterns of potential beings and even matrices. It outlines all that the creator has visualized himself to be. And so, having prepared the form, the space-time bound, visible and physical and non-physical relative universe will appear. Matter will gradually fill the forms or molds created by the interference patterns in protospace. These forms and event patterns have been visualized and seen by the creator in their entirety from the beginning of time to the end of time, that is, starting from the white hole and ending in the black hole. His focus has now become the droplet floating in the middle of the shell. The action of this droplet, the black and white hole, reflects the previous flow of proto-matter through it. It becomes a focus, a source producing a flow of physical matter in the form of radiation to fill the event matrices. The interference patterns prepare by the reverberating sound. This is the nucleus or the egg. It represents all the information about the universe in the condensed form, just as a seed represents a tree. The rest of the ovoid structure mirrors the same information in a manifest unfurled form, that is, the actual tree. Again, we apparently have two opposites, the seed and the tree, both containing the same information but in different form. One is potential form, reflecting the absolute, and one is a manifest unfurled form, representing the relative realities, or the absolute in action. We now know that the purpose of evolution is to produce consciousness of higher and higher order. The universe, a teaching and learning machine, its purpose is to know itself. Knowledge is freely available in the universe like every other natural resource. It is there for everyone who is willing to make the effort to take it. We can poke around in our sequential objective time-space, or we can take the intuitive subjective time-space route. Both are needed to get us there. All creatures in all galaxies are going through their event patterns in this enormous hologram called the universe. We should remember that each element of volume in the hologram contains all the information about the whole grand design. In other words, knowledge is structured in consciousness. This is, again, nature's little hint. Study the micro and you'll find the macro reflected in it. Or if we study ourselves thoroughly, we may just find the design of the universe reflected in us. There is no need to repeat the intuitive reader. There is no need to repeat to the intuitive reader what has been pointed out before, that an egg and all seeds reflect this basic design of the universe. Energy flows through the center of the egg along its long axis, turns around, and flows back over itself, forming an outside field of energy. But then again, this may mean that the universal egg is just a seed produced by a much vaster system, in which the egg of our universe is just a tiny cell among many cells, and that vaster system in turn is only a cell of an even vaster system, and that even much vaster system is again just a speck in an even vaster system. And summary. Our objective reality is composed of a void filled with pulsating fields. If we stop the pulsations of the fields, we get back the absolute. The absolute is where opposing extremes become reconciled and are merged. This is the level at which the creator functions. The creator draws up the plans for his universe. These are the laws of nature, the rules of the game. His goal is the evolution of consciousness. He uses opposing forces of good and evil to stimulate evolution. Even matrices are fields within the universe that affect our endocrine glands in particular pre-programmed ways, so that the most susceptible portion of mankind will behave in certain expected patterns. When a unit of consciousness has developed to a point at which it understands that it is part of the creator will set him aside and assign to him some jobs to do. Eventually, such a consciousness will develop into a co-creator. The creation of a universe starts by the separation of a part of the void, which is outlined by a sheath of light, to form an ovoid shell. Then polarization or protomatter occurs. A discharge passes through the two poles of the ovoid and sets the protomatter moving. The black-white hole nucleus in the center is the source of all matter in the universe. It is possible that this universe is just a tiny cell in a much larger structure. All right. Yeah, so that's how that goes. And yeah, I go back through, and then yeah, you're seeing what I typically see. That's what I start with, and then I'll go in and I add my little subtitles, and I go through and cut the fucking footers out, and put the little pictures in, and or I'll go back through and I'll put page scrolls and all that kind of shit, which is fun. I don't mind doing that shit, but I'm not getting any more complicated. There's no need. No, no. It'd be great if one day all I do is this, just turn it on, read some shit, and go away. But it's still kind of fun. So give me a second. I was thinking during that. I'm not sure if I should go back up to this one while I'm thinking. I guess I will. I'll try to make it go. And so all I'm doing is flipping channels. Anyone who does this shit knows. Give me a second. I can talk for a moment. Give me a moment. I don't even know how long I've been going. I'm not looking at anything. Yeah. While I was reading that, though, I was thinking about I get kicked off places, all right, because of my other readings that I like to do. I'm trying to figure out. I've been looking where I can buy the rights. All I want to do is play music and read. That's it. I want to use it. I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe it's art. I don't care. I don't know what it would be, but I enjoy doing it. And I keep getting kicked off of YouTube and Spotify. And I completely understand because I don't have rights to play those songs. But I play a bunch of old music. So there's got to be some collective thing that I can buy into so that I can just play my music and read my fucking books and then post it up. I don't understand why I can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. I want to go the right direction. I want to do it correctly, but I'm not seeing it. I think I may have found a way, but I'm not throwing fucking money at something stupid where then I go and I've got to hassle the whole time. So until then, I picked Rumble because they're not kicking me off, and they'll kick me off probably eventually. So I don't understand why. I'm not doing anything fucking wrong, but you're not going to get me to go into crazy territories, I don't think. Or maybe you will. But regardless, for this time, all I'm doing is just trying to get out there, I used to think about it like shooting flares. Like I'm putting flares out there, trying to find people of like mind who are just as goofy, not doing this, but just as fucking goofy as me. And might be tuned in a little differently. And last night I just thought about it. I was like, I'm fucking done looking. I'm just going to post it up. They can find me. They find, whatever. And I'll keep trying to put it out there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to throw this on. This will get thrown on YouTube because there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If I have to go up there and take out Willie fucking Nelson, I'll take out Willie fucking Nelson so that it passes its thing. I'd really like to find out why I can't play Midnight Rider from Willie Nelson that was recorded in the 70s, and if I have to have a little picture of it so they know what fucking song it is, great. I don't give a shit. But let me know. That's all I want to do. It's advertising for them. I'm not, probably horrible advertising for them, but I don't care. Still want to do it. I still say it should be art, even though it's not fucking art. Because if it was art, I'd feel fucking stupid. But I don't feel stupid. I feel great doing this for you people. And gotta remember, I'm nervous. Looking at a fucking camera. I don't like looking at that camera. I don't like looking at that face. I look at it enough. So I'm gonna look over here. What was I saying? Yeah, so I'm gonna figure out how to get, because you don't even know what I'm talking about. You people probably don't even know what I'm fucking talking about. At other times, I like to go through other books. I've already started Aesop's Fables the next way. I put a video out the other day. I tried it on X at the property, and it's not X's fault. I'm not going to say it did anything wrong, but it just sounded like shit, and I do not trust platforms where you can't look at me. I just don't. The way that AI is going, dude, it's going to be at a point where you're not even going to be able to trust a fucking human like me. They're able to put faces on shit. So you got to be really careful. Got to be really careful what you're doing. Who knows what the future brings? And the only way I see to combat that, and to the best of my ability with this small pea brain, is to make sure you see me, so that when You understand my intent. You understand my sincerity. You see my face. You can understand. Now, you don't see it a lot because I don't like it bright, but you at least can see it, you know? That's it. That's all why I do it. I could just read these fucking books, and if I was real smart and wanted to make $1, I could read these fucking books once or twice, plug it in something, and then just have it spit out my voice reading the book. I know that. But the beauty to me is in the journey. That's it. The book doesn't matter to me. The words go in, go right back out. They come up. I learn them somehow. I don't know. I don't learn like normal fucking people. I know that. Never have through school. But I carry them with me. And hopefully you're able to carry them with you if you're listening. So that's all I'm getting at, man. Ain't nothing crazy. I don't have any agendas. I don't have an end goal in sight. I have ideas and things where I'd like to go and see happen. But other than that, I'm just taking it a day at a time, you know. You have to forgive me. You have to forgive me because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So right now, man, I'm just talking. I don't ever do this. This is it. This is the first. Yeah, never really felt comfortable doing this. Maybe I'll get more comfortable. I don't know. Yeah, but you don't know unless you try, right? That's the whole fucking thing. You know, you got to fucking find your fears, look at them, understand them, mile high and paper thin, and walk through them, right? Shit, if you're not doing that on a daily basis, picking something and trying to strive for it, you might be fucking up. It's good. You need to. It's called being alive. I don't know. So now I'm thinking, do I go here? So I've got this next one set up, you know, because like I said, I did Aesop's Fables. It's so I'm not hitting record yet. You're going to give me a minute. Let me take a sip of coffee. So I started Aesop's Fables at the property, and because I needed to get it in the hopper, okay? And what's funny when I do those books and I go this route, I have a specific way I like doing it, okay? Not going to make any sense to you. I don't care. It's not for you. It's for me. Got to remember that. You can enjoy if you want, but in the end, it's a game. So I like my game. And in this game, I play music. I read a chapter. I did this 3 other times. See, I get sidetracked. I'm not sure exactly how to stay focused. So I'm trying, and I'm learning as I'm going. So you will deal with it because I'm not looking at any chat windows. So if you tell me to fuck off, I don't care. Where was I? So in this game, I like to read a chapter, pause, play a song, and read a chapter, okay? I did this for Baltasar Gracian's The Art of Worldly Wisdom. What's up? That was about 200 chapters, and it took about, and I recorded it, and I did it half-assedly, just ran through it best way I could, where I would read a chapter, and I would have to play a song. And then I would read a chapter, play a song. That's all I would do, okay? And I would fuck it up, and if the way I do the songs is really ragtag, it's like through YouTube, okay? I just play a song through YouTube. And I don't put any rhyme or reason. I don't make playlists. I don't do anything like that. I just, oh yeah, it looks good. Whatever hits, you know? And they're old tunes. They're probably tunes from my past and shit like that. And so I hit it. And I let it play. And if I fuck up and I don't stop the song because it'll autoplay, and I'm not shutting that off. I like that. If I'm not paying attention, I have to read. Another song goes through. Number one, I have to play that next song, but I also have to read 2 chapters in a row. Okay? So I make sure I'm paying. That's to keep me in line. So I did that. I did that once, and I tried to put it up on YouTube and on Spotify. And it got instantly taken down, you know, and I knew it would, you know, and I felt bad. But I'm not going to go through and I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to take out the music because those to me kind of can be art. I don't care, you know, I'm not to say, you know, because I don't know what I'm doing, you know. I don't know how people receive what I put out there. That's not up to me. I don't give a shit. I I don't care how you receive me. I'm broadcasting, not receiving. Okay? That's a big difference here. So I'm doing what I want to do, and you'll either like it or you won't. But the only problem is I can't get it out there to know if anyone likes it or not because I don't get any feedback. And of course, people can come in and say, "Oh, you look like a fucking asshole," or "It's stupid," or "You sound like shit," or whatever. But that's not the same. It's different. And I know on X I don't like saying shadow ban. That's fucking stupid. But it is a gulag. It is a jail. If you think you're outside of a jail, you feel you're shadow banned or whatever, it's not shadow banning. That's jail. They have you locked out from other people because they don't want you seeing, or they don't want them seeing what you're saying. It's very simple. I mean, you don't have to extrapolate this out very far to see what's going on. So inside that jail, you'll be really fucking hard pressed to get me to play on their system without my face showing, without being able, because if you can talk on there to other people, they can come up. But dude, I've already explained how I feel about it. And my stance will not change, dude. Once I'm in something, when I get a little seed in my head, I don't care how irrational it can be. It's hard to get it to go. And I don't think that's very irrational at all. But anyways, yeah, so that jail's all right, and I'll post this up there. I was going to try to stream it to it as well, but fuck them, I just can't. And I will post this one to YouTube. I will take time out of my schedule and cut out that fucking Willie Nelson clip that I did. I remember I did that. Let me show you right here. Look at this. While I'm playing around. How do I do it? I go like this. Yeah. Now, see? It was that song right there. I don't think I'll get in trouble for a picture. I didn't play the music. Because I'm still going to do it. You're not going to get me not to do it. It's impossible. Once I get something in my head, dude, it's just the way I'm going to do it, come hell or high water. So we're going to figure out how to do it. And part of the fun is the figuring out, So I'll go back through, cut out Willie Nelson clip, and then I will post it up to YouTube so they can have it. Now, what I'm getting ready to do now will only be on Rumble because it will incorporate music. Now, I'm not going to do I don't have time. I don't know what time it is. It's already 11 almost. It's 10:38. It's been a minute. A typical day for me doing this shit, maybe 2 hours. So everything I'm doing is adding more time I'm taking away from other shit, which is completely cool. I handle my business, but just letting you know that. So the next thing I'm going to do, because I want to get back into Aesop's Fables because I started it. And once I start a book, I'm going to finish it. You'll notice in some of my books, I've started a couple and I ain't got back to them because I ain't ready to get back to them yet. I got plenty of time. I'm in no hurry. So I love it. I'm in no hurry to do this. I ain't got no fucking boss. Ain't no one telling me what to do. I love that. That's a beautiful feeling. Doing what you want and not having a fucking accountable to anybody like that. Yeah. Even if it is something stupid like reading a book, it's still nice. Anyways, I'm going to do this on Rumble, and I will cut this chunk out and I will post it up to Rumble, because I've got a setting for it, and I will post it on X. So yeah, but this is the first time I've ever done it this way. It's never looked this way, so there's going to be hiccups. The music should sound better. They should look better. I'm at Battle Station 1. Rule 1 isn't in effect, so I'm here. I'm present. Boom. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Maybe it's because you need to know what the fuck's going on, because if it's like anything else, don't worry about it. So, am I ready to do this? Just give me a minute. Just give me a sec. I can't pause the fucking live stream, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Let me go here. Going here. I can't see anything anyone's writing. So not on this one. I'm just not looking. I'll look afterwards and probably won't be nothing. I don't expect anything. You know, people are busy. But you might be at work and you might be bored out of your fucking skull with banal or what is that word? Just drivel. Just pre-processed fucking political dribble. All right, there's no politics in this, if you notice. None. There's no fucking telling you about a goddamn vaccine. There's no fucking celebrity talk. There's nothing yet, you know? You bring that in, you'll bring that in. It ain't coming from me, though. It may, if something hits me, it might for a moment, and then it's good. I expel it, and then I can move on. But I don't get pulled into those reality tunnels anymore, dude. That shit's, it's mental masturbation. It's I don't know what to call it. I don't know what you call that shit yet. But it's ain't my bag. Anyways, am I set up? Because what I like to do, I'm going to do, where's my book? Why am I trying to read the screen? Because I think you see that. It doesn't get any bigger. It's as big as you get. You're lucky you get that. What page is that? All right. I'll do this like a professional. Hold on. I don't have to be professional yet because it's not recording. I mean, it's going live. That doesn't count. Where am I? My lighting good? That looked good. I got those over there. That one's there. All right. Let me get a sip of coffee. Coffee's getting low. It's not in your favor. All right. So now this next part won't be going to YouTube. All the rest will go, or to wherever else I decide to post it. X might get it just because they'll get a Rumble link. Other than that, yeah, I don't know shit about streaming and all that kind of stuff yet. Okay. Aesop 2, page 6, contents 24. The goods and the ills. 25. The hares and the frogs. 26. The fox and the stork. 27. The wolf in sheep's clothing. 28. Stag in the ox stall. 29. The milkmaid and her pail. 30. The dolphins, the whales, and the sprat. 31. The fox and the monkey. 32. The ass and the lapdog. 33. The fir tree and the bramble. 34, the frogs, complaint against the sun. 35, the dog, the cock, and the fox. 36, the gnat and the bull. 37, the bear and the travelers. 38, the slave and the lion. 39, the flea and the man. 40, the bee and Jupiter. 41, the oak and the reeds. 42, the blind man and the cub. 43, the boy and the snails. 44, the apes and the two travelers. 45, the ass and his burdens. 46, the shepherd's boy and the wolf. 47, the fox and the goat. 48, the fisherman and the sprat. 49, the boasting traveler. 50, the crab and his mother. All right, so I had to get that out of the way. I'm not getting through all those. I've already done... How long's this fucking thing been going? Looks like I've been going about an hour, and that's about all I can do sitting. So I'm going to get a couple of them because I wanted to continue on. You know, once I start something, I have to continue. Now, I'm recording on this, and like I said, this went out live for an hour. This, I guess I'm just talking... No, this doesn't even get to go to YouTube. This goes to just Rumble. So I think, yeah, as far as I know. And so I don't have to explain myself because it's all back there. But maybe you're just tuning in. Maybe you just click that fucking, because I will cut Aesop's Fables out and put it in the Aesop's table, in the folder. And then you won't know what the fuck's going on if I don't explain it. Okay? So there's a live thing under Daily Somewhat, which probably will fill you in on a lot of other things. Okay? You can go there, you can scrub through that, and you can pick out what's needed. What was I doing? I forget what I was doing. I wanted to start on this. This is a new look for me. I'm going to be this going right to page 38. No, where are we at? Oh, why do I keep looking at the screen? All right. Anyways, I'm starting, okay? This is how this one will go. When I'm here, Battle Station 1, this is how Aesop's will go. I'm not doing another book like this until this book is done. And it's going to take a while, okay? This is the one where I play music. And you either like it or you fucking don't. And, you know, that's all good. And I don't know how to check texts and stuff like that right now. I don't give a shit what anyone's got to say. You're either watching or you're not. And you're either bored or you're not. And yeah, you might just be sitting in a chair by a fire, which is probably the best way to enjoy this if you can, because I'm just going to play some tunes and I'm going to continue on. But you got to give me a minute because I got to remember where I got to. Page 38. Once I get set up. Oh, you know what? I can get set up while I play this. Hold on.